This conference will now be recorded.
And I've asked you respectfully to put your phones on and computers on mute until we're ready for additional questions. And want to also let you folks know that if you haven't visited lately the Chamber's webpage, especially the COVID-19 resource page, I'd suggest you do that. There's a wealth of information available there. I understand that Lisa King has a conflict and asked if she could go first. Lisa, are you online? I don't see Lisa online, so we'll move forward. It's for the purpose of our introduction this morning. I'm pleased to welcome the Executive Director of the Nacogdoches Convention and Visitors Bureau, Sherry Cheney Morgan. Good morning, Sherry.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you all for logging on, hopping on the call this morning. It's my honor and my privilege to introduce to you Scott Joslove. Scott has served as President and CEO of the Texas Hotel and Lodging Association, known to those in the industry as THLA, for the past 19 years. And in that time, THLA has grown from the fourth largest state hotel association to the largest state hotel association in the nation, with over 4,500 lodging-related member businesses, from the smallest bed and breakfast properties to the largest convention center hotels. Since joining THLA, Scott and his staff have passed every legislative bill they have offered over the last 19 years and have defeated every legislative initiative opposed by the lodging industry. The International Society of Hotel Associations has recognized THLA 5 times for having the best membership program and the best governmental affairs program in the nation. Scott was recognized with the Top Watchdog Award by the San Antonio Tourism Council, the Anthony G. Marshall Hospitality Law Lifetime Achievement Award, the Lifetime Achievement Award from the Hotel and Lodging Association of Greater Houston, and the first non-elected official to receive the Friend of the Hotelier Award from the Asian American Hotel Owners Association. Scott has a master's degree in public administration and has been a licensed attorney for over 25 years. Prior to joining THLA, Scott served as Chief of Municipal Affairs for the Texas Attorney General and as First Assistant General Counsel for the Texas Municipal League. Colleagues, friends, please join me in welcoming to the oldest town in Texas, Scott Joslove.
Yay.
How nice, how nice. Kind of makes me wish my mother were on the line to hear that introduction. All right, I am proud to provide you sort of a status report and update on where we're at with regard to the hotel industry. I understand that you've already heard from my friend and colleague, Emily Knight, with the Texas Restaurant Association, and she told you about the challenges and the approaches that they're undertaking, and we work together hand in hand on all such things that affect the hospitality industry. In Texas right now, and it's a day-by-day sort of process, I'm checking the statistics every day in terms of what the health departments are putting out as of the status on hospital capacity, infection rate, and other sort of key indicators. Currently, if you're looking across the state at the major cities, and why we don't just look at Nacogdoches or just look at one area, we always look at the entire state of Texas and other areas, because we're a mobile society. What happens in Houston's going to affect Nacogdoches, Austin, Fort Worth, San Antonio, etc. And what we're seeing in our larger cities is that the infection rate seems to have plateaued. Hospital capacity seems to have is within manageable levels, and the trend right now is it's trending. The infection rate is going down, and those are all good signs. We don't know whether this is a final plateau or we'll have a second sort of surge with, you know, flus in the fall or another onset of infections. But at this point, the numbers are looking much better than they've looked in a while. And so that is good news. The exception of that would be in the Valley and McAllen and a few areas. We're having quite a bit of a spike. We can trace it almost pretty clearly back to some weekend activity and holiday activity where there was a lot of folks who went maybe to the beach and then came back to their homes, and then a lot of young people who are still getting a little claustrophobic and are going ahead and getting together, and they're fine and they're often asymptomatic, but they will bring it back to older or more at-risk populations, and then you'll see an infection rate not only of the young folks who can have complications, but also more often their family members and their neighbors and their friends. So in Nacogdoches, I looked at your numbers, and your numbers are looking actually pretty good for a more rural area. And it seems like your hospital capacity is sufficient, and the number of cases and the infection rate and the death rate is certainly, I think it's less than the state average and the national averages. And so it appears that you all are doing as well as you could hope at the time being. But I would defer to your local folks who may have some additional information that I may not have seen. It's going to be vital that we continue in Nacogdoches and other areas to monitor exactly what those trends are, and that we have sufficient hospital capacity, and that the infection rate is not trending up, and that we're ready to address and to have regulations and protocols in place to protect the health of our families, our neighbors, our workforce, all of that. So where does that leave us with travel? Was Emily Knight probably shared with you about restaurants. Hotels are in a very, very dire situation. They are typically across Texas between 5% and 20% occupancy during the week. Now you should compare that against where they usually are, which is 55 to 75% occupancy. So it's just draconian, the impact that it's had. I mean, in 20 years, I've actually been on board now 20 years. I've lived through 9/11. We've lived through 2008 with the economic malaise. And this is the pandemic is all of that combined, and then triple it in terms of impact, if not more than triple. It's affected our ability to keep workforce. It's affected our occupancy. It's affected our ability to make our mortgage payments and our debt payments and our tax payments. And it's everything we had projected for a record year, and we got one, just a record in the wrong direction. I mean, the economics were all leading prior to the pandemic, we're all leading to low unemployment, high growth, high occupancy. Everything looked good across the state of Texas, but the impact of the COVID pandemic was just more than the industry could manage. Now, what does that mean? Well, the good news is the hotel industry is a very, very strong industry. We find ways to cut costs. We find ways to survive. The other good news is y'all have very able assistants, and Sherry Morgan with your CVB is one of the best of the business in terms of convention and visitor bureaus and managing a very difficult scenario and making sure that the hoteliers have that resource. So at a local level, I think you're well set. At the state level, we're doing in excess of 150 calls every day for legal assistance, asking what can we do with a COVID positive guest? What if we have a COVID positive employee? What if we have an employee who we think has been exposed to COVID, and what do we do with them? And what do we do with all of our challenges of paying our bills and keeping our doors open? We've been handling everything in the same way that all the rest of the hospitality and commercial industry has been handling it. At least right now it's summer travel period. So we are seeing some occupancy of hotels like the Fredonia that have a pool, and other hotels, whether it be full service or limited service that have a pool. You're seeing weekend travel and summer travel, families that are getting away and trying to do a little staycation, if you will, or close-in travel. Also highway hotels. that truckers are still traveling. They still need to deliver, especially if you're related to Amazon or other delivery services. That travel is going on, and so to the extent that that's going on, our highway hotels are doing okay and maintaining moderate levels of occupancy. And we're also seeing that if you are an extended stay hotel, an over 30-day stay hotel, and a lot of communities have been appreciative of extended stay hotels, but right now those hotels are one of the few lodging establishments that are maintaining occupancy levels. So that is doing a little better. What we're trying to manage, in addition to the COVID pandemic, is how to comply with the governor's orders, and everybody wants to know what is the current status of those orders and when is it likely to change? Is it likely to become more restrictive or more liberal in terms of what it allows? Right now, as y'all are aware, most retail businesses are all allowed to operate at about 50%, not about, at 50% capacity. For hotels, that's 50% inside our hotels. For events, now when you talk about occupancy, we could have guests, since we're an essential business, at 100% of all of our rooms, but if we hold a special event, then we're only allowed to have up to 50% of the fire code capacity in that meeting space. Now that's for indoor events or at our restaurants. As Emily would have said, would have told you as well, her restaurants, our restaurants, they're all at 50% capacity. And of course, bars, which were open at one point, are now closed. So we're not able to operate bars, except to the extent where it's a food and beverage establishment. So every once in a while, you'll see a hotel bar that'll be open because they're not under an alcoholic beverage license, because over 50% of their sales at that hotel are non-alcohol, so they don't fall under that same restriction. And so at 50% for events, that's a more than liberal standard at this point, because folks are just not coming to events or traveling as much as we would normally have during this time period. We don't anticipate the governor, even if things get a little bit worse, will shut hotels down or shut down indoor events. There's not an indication. They have shut down outdoor events, except with approval of the city or the county, if it is in excess of 5 or 10 individuals, that type of group. On indoor events, you can have up to 50% capacity and individual groups of 10. And what that means is you may have a capacity of 1,000 persons for a meeting room. You could have 500 at 50%, and then within that 500, each group of 10 would be congregated separately with 6 feet distance between those groups of 10. And who would be in a group of 10? That'd be all family members or people who are traveling together and have chosen to congregate together. Otherwise, it would be a group of less than 10 if you don't have that many who are traveling together or are family household members, people who are residing together. So what we're seeing now is that we have social distancing requirements, mask requirements of both employees and of our guests. We have some guests who push back on the mask requirement. We've had to ask some guests to leave the establishment in order to protect our employees and the fellow guests. And we're dealing with, how do we deal with employees that are COVID positive, and following the governor's orders and of course, workplace safety standards. We're looking at whether or not hotels can be a housing option for COVID positive guests or people who are at risk, and maybe health service workers. We're looking at, in certain parts of the state, we're housing homeless folks who may want to be outside of a common shelter and in separate quarters as they go through the COVID crisis. We're doing all kinds of things to try to make sure that we're every bit the community resource that we can be, and that we economically try to survive the pandemic. A common question we get is, when will things get better with the orders? I think you should be aware that the person who is managing the COVID, basically the economic strike force to reopen Texas post COVID or throughout the COVID crisis, is Mike Toomey. Mike Toomey has a long history of working at the legislature. He's been chief of staff for 2 Texas governors, both Governor Clements and Governor Perry. Now he's been tapped by Governor Abbott to lead this task force. He also has represented the hotel industry and other business groups for over 20 years. So we are very familiar and have worked with Mike for many, many years. Now, what Mike tells me about what we can expect from the governor. If it's for me, please tell him I'm on a conference call. Mike has told me that we can expect that the governor will probably stand pretty steady in terms of the current restrictions and not make them harsher. At the same time, every future relaxing of those standards goes by a medical panel. And so if the medical panel doesn't bless it, that Texas is ready for that, no politics are going to change that. It has to first go through the medical panel. And then at that point, it's presented to the panel of industry leaders and community leaders. And then it goes to the governor for the final nod. And I think, hopefully there's promising news in terms of vaccines that we're going to see. I'd like to hope by the end of this year, if not into the next year and then a couple of months in the next year. I think once we have a vaccine and we get widespread inoculations from the vaccine, I think people will start to reopen their thinking and be willing to look at going to events, traveling, and kind of regrouping, pardon the pun, in terms of hospitality. And so I think we're going to see a challenging remainder of the year where people will be in survival mode. And then next year, I think you'll incrementally see it increase probably to the 40 to 60% occupancy level, depending on the area. And depending, of course, on whether or not all bets are off if we have another onset of cases due to maybe a rash of flu or other illnesses that seem to proliferate and frighten folks. I'm hoping and praying that's not the case, but we'll have to take each challenge as it comes. So that is kind of a state of the state. I'd be glad to answer any questions about dealing with COVID guests, dealing with COVID issues with employees, any other questions about hospitality or hotel protocols, or anything else that would be helpful. Partnering with cities, as the introduction indicated, my master's is in city management, and I have a law degree, and I've done this now for 20 years. And we are stronger when we partner with our chambers. We are stronger when we partner with our CVB partners in all of our cities. And as soon as this pandemic runs its course, and hopefully we have herd immunity and we have inoculations and vaccines, and we will have an awareness of exactly how to be ready for these types of things, God forbid when it should happen in the future. I think we're going to be stronger, we're going to be leaner, we're going to be meaner, and we're going to be ready. I mean, all the economic factors were strong before. There's no reason they shouldn't be strong again. And I think you're going to be well situated because, as I said, you have Kelly at the chamber, you have Wayne at the chamber, you have Sherry at the CVB, and that's a trifecta that's going to really help you guys hit the ground running. You're going to need to make sure that you don't forget to continue funding their operations so they can make sure that business to business networks are effective, that we retain our market share, that we market that we're back open for business for both transient guests as well as group business. Nacogdoches, being not only the oldest city, but one of the most beautiful cities in Texas. You have so much to offer and so many people who want to be there and want to go there. So I'm looking forward to welcoming a lot of travelers. I just think we need to get through this very, very serious time. So let me open up to any questions y'all may have.
Great. Thank you very much, Scott. We appreciate that. Questions from our audience? Scott, I've got one, if you don't mind. On the federal level, there are attempts to give businesses limited liability protection. I suspect you guys are in favor of that.
Absolutely. We feel like we're doing our best and we are exceeding CDC standards at all of our hotel brands. And we're doing everything we can, but we don't know what we don't know. And when we take in guests, we can't control or limit guests who may not give us full information, and the guests may not know. So, and that could affect other guests, it could affect other employees, and there's no way for us to have the resources to be the insurer against all bad. So we are supporting the national efforts to get liability limitations, immunity from these types of lawsuits, and the same thing at the state level. I'm not sure whether or not we'll get that liability protection through Congress, but I would hope that we would get it through the Texas legislature, if not through the federal Congress.
Thank you, Scott. Other questions?
Wayne, can I ask a quick question?
You may.
This is Donna from the local TV station, KTRE. Little backstory, just returned back from vacation. I just spent 2 nights in the hotel. I grilled the manager about cleanliness, and I still preceded my family with a can of Lysol and used the whole jar before we went to bed. So let me ask you this. It's a matter of trust. It's a matter of consumer confidence. What is the hotel industry doing other than saying, yeah, we have clean rooms? Is there any checks and balances on management to make sure this is being done?
Well, thank you for your question. And I assume when you use your bottle of Lysol, it was on the facility, not on your family. It's the standards that are in place. The hotel industry looked at it on a national level, and all the major brands got together and they developed what's called the Safe Stay program. And that Safe Stay program ensures that there's a minimal level of standards that every hotel brand of the 10 major hotel brands all agreed to, of cleaning surfaces regularly and of keeping social distance and of having plexiglass or other sorts of barriers where respiratory emissions could impact other employees or other guests. And you know, and protocols from everything from bathrooms to frequently touched surfaces to food and beverage to handing a guest the key to front desk operations to public areas, all of that. So all those brands have not only agreed to those, but they are training their employees on it. There are efforts at the Educational Institute to provide certifications that all employees can be certified so that they're all aware. And that's the minimal level of standards. And when I say minimum, it's not a low level, it's a very, very high level of standards. Then each brand I'm finding, whether it's Hilton or Marriott or Best Western or Wyndham, are taking those standards and saying, we're doing that plus all of these things. And so certain brands are getting independent certifications that they're doing throughout their brand. Other folks are using other sorts of additional protocols, but I find it's almost a competition to outdo and to do more than has ever been done before. I stayed at a hotel recently in Austin and in San Antonio, and I could not see in any lobby area or in any public area where there were not people wiping down in between guest usage of any sort of common area. And managers there at the front desk holding the front door open so that the guests didn't have to keep touching the same area. They'd have one person who would be trying to manage that. And it's going to be something where hotels are doing the very best that they can. They're not only concerned about their guests, they're concerned about their employees. I mean, that manager is just as vulnerable as a guest and is there, probably more vulnerable because they're all the time. So it's in their interest and all the employees' interest and their families that we all get together and make sure that we keep that sanitation, those protocols exceeding what we need to do to protect our guests.
Thank you, Scott. Any other questions? If not, Scott, thank you for joining us, and thank you for those very kind comments. But they certainly were deserved towards Sherry, and we're just thrilled to have you. And hopefully, we'll have you back in Nacogdoches in better times when we can have you actually have lunch or breakfast with us and give us an update on the hospitality industry. But we're pleased. I was very impressed with your legislative record. Not
Well,
having a loss. That's pretty impressive.
well, we work very hard at it, and I'll look forward to not only have lunch or breakfast, but also staying overnight in one of your fine lodging establishments. So I'm looking forward to that. We worked with y'all on your convention center hotel legislation with the Hotel Fredonia, and we continue to work closely with Sherry and with y'all at the chamber. So thank you for being such great partners, and we look forward to brighter days ahead.
Thanks, Scott. And you're welcome to stay with us. I know you have a very busy schedule, but you're certainly welcome to stay with us for as long as you can on this call. So moving right along, is Lisa King back with us by chance? I don't think she's made it yet. Moving right along, I'm pleased to welcome Betty Rousseau, representative of Governor Greg Abbott. Good morning, Betty.
Good morning, everyone. I hope you are all doing well. I have a few things here. There was a governor's announcement yesterday that the state disaster declaration for COVID-19 was extended. That's a very short little announcement that came out. There is Texans are invited to attend Women in Tech and Innovation Forum coming up starting September 1st. There are several panels. There's a keynote panel with Texas executives, professional mentorship and attracting talent, specialty focus, a perspective taking in virtual reality, funding for businesses, specialty focus section called Invest in Yourself, and ending with a virtual mentorship session. So I can send y'all information on that if you're interested. There's another webinar coming up. This one is for small business through our division. It's starting a business in Texas. It will be next Wednesday, the 19th from 1 to 2 p.m. And I can send information on that as well if you're interested. Just let me know. And that's it, unless if anyone has any questions.
No, I did notice this morning that on KTRE, they're going to have a live streaming at noon of the governor's remarks, and I believe at 2:30 this afternoon as well. So if you can avail yourself of the internet, our friends, thanks to Donna and KTRE, will be able to pick up that signal. So thank you, Betty. Any questions, Betty? Thank you very much. I'm pleased to welcome this morning the president of Stephen F. Austin State University, Dr. Scott Gordon. Good morning, Dr. Gordon.
Good morning. Hope everybody is doing well. Well, this is the week we've all been waiting for. We have our new freshmen coming to campus starting on Thursday, and they will be going through JAC camp and orientation and really getting familiar with the institution and all of our new safety protocols. And you know, I've been on college campuses for 35 years, and when the students aren't here, it's just not the same. And so this is something that is I look forward to. It's exciting, and let's just hope that everything goes smoothly. Our enrollment right now, you know, I think a lot of people have realized that national publications have indicated that enrollment in higher ed could be 25% down. I'm pleased to report that as of today, we look like we're going to be, well, as of today, we are flat. And flat is the new up as far as I'm concerned. We are very pleased with the hard work that everybody has been doing to get our students here and registered and set up with everything that they need. And so we're excited to start the fall. Again, we're going to have all different kinds of safety protocols in place with the mandatory mask policy, physical distancing. The big question a lot of folks have been asking, what's going to happen with fall sports? And all I can say about that is we don't know for sure yet, but things don't look good. I have a conference call with the conference. That's an interesting one, huh? A conference call with the conference tomorrow, and we should know a little bit more about that. We're looking at a very different fall semester, but at least we're going to have students back, and hopefully it'll look somewhat normal. Many of you have probably noticed North Street's getting a little bit busier because our students who are living in apartments off campus, I think some of them have started to come back. Our faculty are starting to be in the offices, and things are starting to get going, and the energy is contagious. So with that, I'll take any questions.
Questions for Dr. Gordon? I just have a comment. I spent the earlier part of this morning on a conference call with many of your colleagues at SFA, and I've got to tell you that their enthusiasm is contagious. It helps to it certainly helped to create additional enthusiasm on my part, and it's great to hear people in these times talk so optimistically about our ability to be able to continue to serve the students at your institution. And we all thank you, Scott, for the leadership you're providing in this very challenging time.
Well, I appreciate that, and I think now's the time to paint the town purple. I know that there's some activities that will be occurring here, and my house is going to be lit up purple for the next several weeks because we want to welcome these students and their families to the community, and encourage them to maybe spend some money, buy some shirts, go to restaurants, enjoy the town, and come back frequently. So exciting time, and let's hope that again we continue the trend and find that our enrollment actually is increased from last year. But again, we're excited because right now, we're still 13 days away from our first day of class, but we're flat, and that's good. I know that there are institutions across the country that are seeing 20–25% declines in enrollment, and I think the fact that we're flat is a testament to the work that the community's been doing, our faculty, our staff. We've literally had thousands of phone calls made from offices across campus to get students to follow through and register. So I want to thank everybody.
That's great. And I did notice that Mary Montniak was modeling her shirt for us, for those of us that have cameras. Very attractive, Mary.
Yes.
Thank you. So thank you, Dr. Gordon. Continuing is Larissa Philpott with us, the president and CEO of the Nacogdoches Economic Development Corporation. She told me a little earlier she was in a meeting, so I do see we have our folks from the NISD. Erin's online. I didn't see Les, but good morning. Erin, did you want to give us a quick update?
Good morning. I think Les is hopping on in a little bit. Oh, there he is. I'll defer to Les.
All right. Les, your timing is perfect. Would you like to give us an NISD update, please?
Absolutely, Wayne. I hope everyone's doing well. NISD teachers are on campus. They reported last week for staff development as we move forward with the start of the school year. The first day of classes will be Monday, August 31st. And as many of you already know, the first 4 weeks of school will be almost entirely virtual instruction. During that time frame, we will begin bringing small groups of students onto campus for in-person instruction in a slow and safe process. Our plans are that by September 28th, we will offer in-person instruction to any student wishing to be on campus. And we will also continue providing virtual instruction on September 28th and beyond as well. Wayne, needless to say, there are a lot of things going on in the district as we prepare for that August 31st start. And the teachers have a lot on their plates as they get ready to start a new school year.
Any questions of Les? Well, we understand the challenges, much like Dr. Gordon expressed last FA. We know the NASD is certainly trying to be flexible as they approach the start date. And again, we're all rooting for you folks as well. And we'll do anything we can to partner with you to help you succeed through these days. Thank you, Les.
Well, thank you very much, Wayne. And one thing I did want to mention, we've had a wonderful turnout of businesses and organizations and churches that are participating in our Dragon Connected program, where we will promote those locations as places where students and their parents can go and make a connection on Wi-Fi to submit lessons from their devices and also download new lessons. We are just so pleased with how that's worked out, and the generosity of the community cannot be overstated. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Les. Appreciate that. For the purpose of a regional update, the president and CEO of the Texas Forest Country Partnership, our friend Nancy Wyndham. Good morning, Nancy.
Good morning. Thank you for a moment to say a few. First of all, I want to do a shout out to our great city of Nacogdoches. Oh, and first of all, I understand that our new city manager's first day was yesterday, and that may be why Larissa is tied up. I don't know, Amy, I shake yes or no. That's probably a busy place, but we welcome him to Nacogdoches. The governor's office, the Texas Economic Development Corporation, is continuing to market the whole entire state. I don't know if I reported last time, but they are highlighting our region as one of the highlights in their new marketing piece. It'll be digital and they'll send it out outside of the area, but they ask us to submit a lot of photographs, and Sherry used the Texas Trails as some of those. We submitted transportation, and of course, all the school and the training of the workforce, which is highlighted. And I got a draft of it yesterday, a day before yesterday. And Shirley, I see Shirley Luna's on the call, and Dr. Gordon. Right in the middle of it is a photo of students in our new STEM lab working. So SFA's got a great shout out with that. And then on the top border is our I-69 as far as the transportation. And it's a photo that Jason Renna took of a flyover of the connector on the south side of town. So a big shout out to Nacogdoches for that piece that will be coming out shortly. And we're working right now with some additional projects. Those have really strengthened. I think the last time I reported, there are a lot of businesses that are looking outside of the urban areas. They're looking in rural. Our marketing committee has decided to send out an RFP to get in bids to help us find leads so we can market our area and our strengths and our assets. It's not so much a COVID report, but it is our COVID report, because we're just moving on and doing what we need to do during this time and figuring out how we keep economic development on the forefront in our region, in front of new projects that are either inshoring or expanding and wanting to get out of the congestion and wanting to raise families in better areas of the state and of the U.S. I see there's someone from Deep East Texas Workforce Solutions on the line. I don't know who that is, but they have done a stellar job every week. They are, as far as a regional touches, they're setting the Workforce Wednesdays. I believe Nacogdoches has already had theirs. Tomorrow will be Newton County's. that is bringing a lot of attention and a lot of awareness to the counties on what is going on in that area. But a big shout out to Huntington ISD and Newton ISD in our region. They received big JET grants, and I don't know if someone in Workforce Solutions wants to elaborate on that, but that's two of our school districts that are benefiting from that program from the Texas Workforce Commission. With that said, we're just moving forward, trying to do what we've done, but in a whole new and different way. Dr. Gordon, I look forward to the traffic. I love to sit back and just count the cars, and hopefully our businesses and everybody in Nacogdoches is going to benefit from him. We just need to be safe and be patient, watch all of our students, and give everybody a hand up. I like what Scott Joslove said this morning, all of his comments about working together, and surely support regionalism, because you've got all the other counties that are out there rooting for you too. So thank you so much for this time, and we're always here to help if you need us.
Thank you, Nancy. Any questions of Nancy? If not, Nancy, thank you again for all the great work the partnership is doing for us in this region. It's just fantastic, the cooperation that we have between these various communities and counties. Certainly, last but not least, we're pleased to have with us Dr. Amy Mahaffey, the Communications Director for the City of Nacogdoches. Good morning, Dr. Mahaffey.
Good morning. Thanks for having me. We've been busy at the city, and I am gonna, as was stated, we are very happy to announce that our new city manager joined us yesterday, and we are working on a plan to get the media in contact with him this week to introduce him to the community, and I am looking forward to all the changes that are coming. So as Nancy said, it's been a busy couple days just getting him on board, and we will continue to do that as the weeks go on. I'll kind of combine Larissa's report with my report since she is tied up at that other meeting. We are working closely with all of our local businesses, as you know, but also really focusing on our small business owners. And we have a lot of business owners here in town that have been navigating these uncertain circumstances. And so we're very thankful the Main Street program and NEDCO have been working together to get Jimmy Mize and Scott Bauer together to host what we're calling a Small Business Survival Finance webinar. That is this week. That's Thursday at 2 o'clock. And this was kind of spurred from the downtown merchants, really wanting to bolster that pride and ensure that we are continuing to work together. That will look at all of the new legislation coming out and can help them to continue to navigate their P3 loans and any general small business finance tips. And so that's something to really look forward to. As you all know, being involved with the Chamber of Commerce, Shop NAC First is very important, and that number speaks for itself. When we look at local sales tax numbers, we were of course all bracing for what I would consider bad news, but since we know that a lot of people were here throughout the first and second quarters, we have sales tax numbers that are not as bad as we anticipated. And so I think that's great news and a true testament to shopping locally and how great that can bolster our economy here in Nacogdoches. And so those are just some quick updates from the economic development side. In terms of our Emergency Operations Center, it continues to operate at increased readiness virtually. The number of positive tests are continuing to slowly go down, and so we want to be cautiously optimistic. We certainly know that we are testing more, and so of course we're seeing more positive cases, which is actually a good thing, so that we can continue to isolate people who may be symptomatic and asymptomatic. The number of tests administered continues to climb. We average about 129 tests a day. Those numbers come from the state, and so that can fluctuate day by day just depending on the way that they're intaking those tests. And so that's an average, again, is a really good number to look at, because looking at one day, I continue to say this, looking at one day's snapshot is not a great picture of what the community looks like. And so I will continue to encourage you to look every Tuesday afternoon we post our 7, 14, and 21-day moving average trend lines, and that's a better picture of what our community looks like. And so that's something to really look forward to each week, because that can show us that the numbers appear, how the numbers appear to be. I would say, and I've spoken to a couple of different representatives from the hospitals, that, you know, they kind of looked at this last few weeks as our next peak. And so hopefully we're kind of seeing the downtrend of that. But I don't ever want to speak too soon or give us, you know, too much optimism in that regard, because we know that there are students coming back, and we know that there are people that are continuing to be more comfortable going out, as they should be. But we want to continue to encourage people to wear their masks and to shop locally and to do all of the things that they feel comfortable doing. Here at the rec center, we're looking at doing a survey that you'll see come out this week as well in regards to fall sports. As Dr. Gordon mentioned, that's a topic that everybody wants to hear about, youth sports and adult sports. And so we're kind of gauging interest of different stakeholders in regards to that. So if you see that, please feel free to fill that out. We want everybody's opinion there. And I guess with that, we will hopefully be able to slowly roll out our new city manager, who hit the ground running yesterday. He was already meeting with citizens and talking to them about their issues. And so I was really excited to welcome him, and we will continue to get him onboarded and slowly introduced to all of these wonderful meetings. As anybody who's been new to the community, I can speak for myself. It can be everybody's excited, and you're a shiny new toy, and you're ready to meet everybody, and it can be a little overwhelming. And so we're trying to slowly get him onboarded, because we're not only welcoming him to the community, but we're also in the middle of a pandemic. And so there's a lot of information to get to him quickly. And so we'll ask that everybody welcome him with open arms. We're very, very excited. It's been a process, and we're thankful to our city council that was so diligent in ensuring that we found the right fit for Nacogdoches. And I'm confident that you will feel the same. And so with that, I will give it back to you, Mr. Mitchell.
Thank you, Dr. Mahaffey. Any questions of Amy? Well, again, thank you very much, Amy, for that real thorough update. I really appreciate that. It's so helpful, and all the work you guys are doing. Those reports are critical to us in getting a grip on what the trends are as it relates to COVID-related illnesses. And I know it's very time-consuming, but it certainly is helpful. I distribute them on a daily basis. There you go. I do want to remind you folks that the Chamber is currently soliciting awards for small, medium, and large business of the year, citizen of the year. Many of the people on this call would qualify for there be a candidate for some of these awards. And I'm going to encourage you to take time to visit the Chamber website and submit somebody electronically, a candidate, excuse me, for those awards. And not unrelated to that, we have made the decision that we are going to have an annual meeting. And it's going to be very different and look very different. We're still in the preliminary planning stages of it. It will not look like it did in the past. And so I would respectfully suggest you watch your emails in the near future, and you're going to see something very, very different. We're privately talking with a whole bunch of folks, not the least of which Dr. Scott Gordon on this call, who I put on the spot last week and asking for access to a facility. And stay tuned. This could be the most innovative program we've rolled out in years here at the Chamber, and in partnership with the great folks of this community. I also want to let you know that on August 27th, the Chamber is planning an Eggs and Issues program featuring our brand new city manager, Mario Canizares. And it's going to be both a virtual and a real program. We're tentatively planning to put it together at the Fredonia Hotel and Convention Center. It'll be at 7:30 or 8 o'clock start time, and we'll be broadcasting it. The city manager confirmed that with me yesterday, and we're making plans for that. So if you want an opportunity to meet him, either make plans to join us either electronically or virtually at the Fredonia Hotel. And again, that'll be August 27th, Eggs and Issues program. It's a great opportunity to meet and greet our new city manager. Any other questions or comments from any of our participants here today. Well, the silence is deafening. With that in mind, I'm going to again thank Scott Joslove for joining us from the Texas Hotel and Lodging Association. We couldn't be more pleased to have you with us. Thank all of our presenters today. Sherry, for the great introduction you did. You can introduce me anytime if we can ever find anything flattering to say about me. But all kidding aside, thank everybody that took the time to be a part of this call. Next week's call will feature Tony Bennett. I know you folks have wanted to hear from Tony Bennett for a long time, and this is going to be your opportunity. Tony Bennett is the president and CEO of the Texas Manufacturers Association. So join us next week, a week from today, and you'll hear a new tune. Thank you very much, folks, and have a great day.